Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the 2025 Mazda CX90. This is the Turbo S Premium Plus. It's finished off in artesian red and the MSRP is just over $58,000. Now underneath the hood, this is powered by the 3.3 liter inline 6-cylinder turbocharged engine that is paired to the 8-speed automatic. It pumps out 340 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent through the all-wheel drive system, propelling this 4,900-pound 3-row SUV from 0 to 60 in 6.3 seconds. It has a top speed of 130 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 19.6 gallons. You'll expect to see around 23 miles per gallon in the city, 28 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 122.8 inches. Its overall length is 201.6. It has a width of 77.6, a height of 68.7, and its ground clearance measures in just over 8 inches. Now, as we work our way back to the exterior styling and up front, you'll notice that the Mazda badge is very large. This is also the sensor for the adaptive cruise. There's a forward-facing camera as well. Plenty of cutouts in that grille too to provide a lot of cooling, including the chrome accents that are in the lower section too to give it a great look. Now this also has a set of LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals. You'll notice that the turn signals are actually integrated into the grille, which is a really nice touch. There's also some inlets on both sides, as well as more cutouts in the lower section. There's also chrome too, all of the parking sensors as well, and then some nice lines that run down the hood. Now as we work our way to the side, this has a set of 21-inch wheels with a nice two-tone design to them. There's also the body-colored fender arches. You'll notice the inline 6 with the chrome badge just in front of the power folding side mirrors, where this has a camera and a turn signal. Up top, there's the full moonroof. There's also brushed aluminum for those roof racks. There's a combination of chrome and black for the window surrounds. Some more chrome in the lower side skirt there, and a very nice design from the side. Being a 3-row SUV, it's stretched just a little bit, but it has some good proportions, especially with the rest of the lines and how it flows back to this corner here. Now there's also the integrated spoiler with the third brake light. The wiper blade is in that lower section. There's also LED taillights. There's the backup camera, as well as all the parking sensors, more chrome in that lower section. And this also has the ability to tow right around 5,000 pounds when you have that properly equipped. Now, as we take a look at the cargo space, you can use 3 different controls: the key fob, the button up under here, or just kick your foot over on this right side here, and you can open that up hands-free, which is a great option to have. Now, like I mentioned earlier, the CX90 is a 3-row SUV. So the third row is currently folded down. So as you can tell, there is quite a lot of space. There's also a small cubby on that left side there. You can lift up the floor where you have some spare tire tools, as well as a little bit of storage. And then what I like about the third row is that it's actually all manual. So you can just quickly pull on these straps to pull up the seat or to release them. And with the third row up, you still have a lot of space. So it makes it very practical. There's also a 3-prong outlet, as well as another outlet. And then you have the ability to put in that cover. You have to have the third row down to do it, and then it will slide into place if you would like to use that. So definitely very versatile. And then up top, you can push on the one control to close it, or you can also lock the vehicle at the same time. Now, as we work our way to the interior, there's no control on the back door handles to unlock it. So you would have to grab the front and then unlock it from the rear. But take a look at the white interior, which is a great contrast with this artesian red. There's also the manual adjusting sunshade, really cool trim accents with the combinations here, including the chrome. This has the Bose audio as well. There's your release, window control, and then storage in that lower section. And then for the CX90, captain's chairs is an option. You can get the bench for the middle seat here, but we have the captain's chairs, which have a great look to them. They do slide forwards and backwards. They recline and incline, and then you can use this control here to slide the seat forwards to gain access into the third row here. So at 5'10", hopping into the third row where there's only 2 seats, it's not all that bad. It's nice that you have cup holders. There's also some air vents down below. You have a USB-C. There's also some tie hooks. When you have these down, you can use those as needed. You have a fairly good amount of space here. And then at my height, I'm actually not even touching the headliner. So I have about an inch or so. It's actually pretty good. You could have kids back here. I could ride around town if I needed to. And we have plenty of visibility with the glass here. So they're usable if and when you need to use them, which is very nice. I wouldn't call this necessarily a full-size 3-row SUV. It's not quite as large as some others out there, but Mazda did a good job with the functionalities in the back. Now, as we hop into the middle row, there's the bar underneath, so we can slide this back into its normal position. So we have plenty of legroom. There's also storage pockets. You have your air vents, auxiliaries. You even get heated and ventilated captain's chairs, and then all of your controls for the fan speed, temperature, and where you would like the air to go. Now, right in the middle, there's 2 cup holders. There's also the armrest, which you can open up, and it has a good bit of space in there. There's also extra space in the bottom, so you can slide this tray out for any items that you would like to place there. And then at my height, again, 5'10", I have a few more inches compared to that 3rd row, and then you can recline just to get a little bit more comfortable. So very nice amount of space for both rear seat options there. Now up front, the door panel is just like the rear. There's lock and unlock, all the window controls, side mirror adjustments, which are power folding, and then a little bit of storage in that lower section. And then the front seats are all automatic with a very similar design to them. Now, as we hop in, we have the solid leather steering wheel. On this left side, there's volume. You also have audio adjustments, Bluetooth controls. On the right side, there's your cruise, distance pacing, lane keeping assist as well. But let's start this up. We can go over the rest of this information. This also has paddle shifters on both sides as well that you can use as needed. And it has the power steering wheel. So you can go in, out, up, and down there. As we look at the digital gauge cluster now, you don't have a whole lot to go through. On the left side, there's the tach. On the right side, there's your engine temperature as well as your fuel gauge. And then if you just use the info button on the left side, that allows you to go through some of this information over on that right side. So you can scroll through some of this as needed, just depending on what you would like to see. And that is pretty much it for the screen. Now on this left side, we do have a safety control that you can turn on and off. You'll notice you can monitor that over on that right side. There's parking sensors as well as your traction control. You have the iStop. This is the engine start stop. So when you come to a stoplight, put your foot on the brake, you can decide if you want the vehicle to shut off momentarily or if you don't want that on at all. There's the liftgate release, memory seating adjustments, that really cool trim accent with 1 air vent. This also has a head-up display. Currently it's showing the distance pacing, your cruise control, miles per hour. And then for the infotainment system, I want to start off with the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So currently I have the Apple CarPlay installed. What's interesting about Mazda's infotainment system, that this is actually a touchscreen system when you have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Now what's really neat, so I can swipe both ways there to do that. I can get into my music here and go back. If I click on Mazda, this is how you exit out. And this is where it's interesting. It's no longer a touchscreen system. So you have to go down and use these controls down below, which isn't all that confusing, but it's very interesting to see that you can use it as a touchscreen system for certain things, and it's not a touchscreen for other items. It'd be really nice to see if it was all touchscreen and you still have the controls down below to further go through this information. But when you get back into Apple CarPlay, now it's a touchscreen system. It's still very easy to use though. You have quite a lot that you can get into, especially when you go back to here. You can go through the settings, infotainment, music, and phone there. So it's an easy system to use, but interesting to note that. We have more of those accents there. Underneath that, there's 2 air vents, and then you have all the climate adjustments. So the fan speed is right in the middle. Temperatures are on the left and the right. This has heated and ventilated seats along with a heated steering wheel. You have some defrosters as well. You can also control the rear from up front, which is very helpful to have. Now this also has wireless charging. There's an auxiliary there too. There's cup holders on this right side. On the left side, you do have a few different driving modes. You have normal, there's also sport, and then off-road is the last one there. Now if we put this into reverse, simply just pull the release, push this to the right. We have the backup camera with that top-down view, and then you do have a different angle just depending on what you would like to see. Now there's also drive, of course, and when you put it into drive, the forward-facing camera will appear, which is nice. There's also a shortcut to the camera system, so you can push on this button here and pull that up when you are in park. There's a downhill assist. There's auto hold with the e-brake. You have volume and tuning along with a favorites button. There's also the split style to the center armrest, which has some auxiliaries in it, and then plenty of space in the glove box. Up top, there are garage door buttons underneath the rear view mirror. You have all of your dome lights. There's a sunglass holder, and then there's even the control for that sunshade and sunroof. So that will provide you with a lot of light for this interior. And as far as visibility goes, a little bit of a pillar behind that headrest there, but you have your side mirrors, of course, to help you out. And then over this left side, you can see out of the side windows there. So really not too many blind spots for a 3-row SUV. As we set up now behind the wheel for the Mazda CX90, this is the second CX90 that we've had. The first one was actually the plug-in hybrid. So now we just have the regular gas engine for this model here. It's been a really nice vehicle to drive over the last couple of days. I honestly don't really have any complaints with it. It's just a nice point A to point B vehicle. We have, I'd say, a minimal amount of tech, but it offers everything that you would want to use on a daily basis. My only one complaint would be the infotainment system, like I went over earlier in this video. Other than that, it's a very nice, smooth driving vehicle. You can also fit in a lot of items with this. We actually had a bike in the back just to show you how much space that you get with this vehicle. You could probably fit 2 in here if we did it a little bit differently, but even being able to use it as an SUV, put in items like that, it gives you a lot of interior space. And then obviously you have a lot of space for the rest of your passengers as well. So let's put this into sport mode now. We will go down into second gear, and you can actually see that over on the left side here. Give it a little bit of gas as we get up to speed. It's honestly not bad. That feels like a good amount of power for this vehicle. This isn't a performance-oriented 3-row SUV, but that's plenty of power to get this up and moving, to get up and with traffic speeds. And you do have the paddle shifters, which are fairly responsive. So if you want to use those in some sporty driving situations like that, you can, or just put it back into normal, where the gauge cluster will change slightly. So we have a little bit more of a traditional view in normal, and then sport mode is going to turn red, basically with the same information, just a little bit different of a graphic there. But it's very comfortable. It's definitely a smooth driving vehicle. Seats are really comfortable as well. And it's not a very tall or big vehicle either. So for it being a 3-row SUV, it's still going to give you kind of a smaller footprint as far as its drive and where you're able to park it, things like that, its maneuverability. And it's definitely a good vehicle to rack up the miles, something that you can take on a road trip, something just to drive every day. If you have a few kids or some other people, it's a good people hauler where you can load this up. You have plenty of space in the back, and you have a lot of adventures that you can take this on. And in sport mode, second gear again, here we go. And just like that, we're up to speed. Sounds pretty decent too. It's not a vehicle that you're looking to get any kind of noise like that from, but it sounds decent when you give it an acceleration. But this is what it's like to be behind the wheel now for the CX90. I do like the setup and everything, the layout for this model. With the screen, we have a large infotainment system, and it's integrated very nicely into the dash, so kind of tucked away in there, which is probably why it's not touch screen, because this is my distance here. I can't touch it unless I lean forward slightly, but it would be nice to see all of that touch screen at some point. But it's a great vehicle. Over the last 3 or 4 days that I've been driving this, it's just been a nice commuter vehicle. And there's not much else to say with it. You have a few different options that you can go with. So this is more on the higher trim level. There's a few that are below this, of course. So that way, if you want something not quite as expensive, you definitely have some options to go with. But it is nice for a 3-row SUV, just shy of $60,000. In today's world, where 3-row SUVs are getting very expensive, 58 grand is still a lot of money when vehicles used to cost a lot less. But in today's market, with how the market is, how everything is going, under 60 grand for a 3-row SUV that's pretty functional and capable with towing is pretty impressive to see. So if you're not looking for a lot of technology, we have a lot of standard safety features from Mazda. But if you just want to hop in this, pair your phone and go, this is a great option to go with, where you don't have a million bells and whistles. You have a nice refined, somewhat of a luxury vehicle with, you know, the nice materials that we have and the trim accents and things like that. So it's kind of a luxury vehicle, just a little bit step below, and I'm not saying that's bad. It's definitely a good vehicle. It has a lot to offer for the money, which makes it a good pick if you are looking for a 3-row SUV. But that is going to wrap it up for the 2025 Mazda CX90. Again, if you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up. Consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. And I will see you all in the next video.